Hey guys, it's Toby Morrison here and welcome to today's video where we are going to talk about grief. And we're going to talk about a really cool success story about someone who was able to let go of a ton of grief and basically live her life now. And I think one of the biggest problems that I see with people who are going through chronic fatigue syndrome or chronic illness or anything really hard is that they get so bogged down in the current reality and the past reality of what was. And they almost get stuck there. And there's a commonality that I see with people who start to get better and really improve their life is that they actually stop focusing on what they used to be like, what they were, what they wish they were right now, and then what they can't do, and then they switch their focus and they start to focus on everything they can do, and things just get a hell of a lot better. But let's get into the training because I think this is just a really damn important conversation to have. We had one member who, when she joined the program, she was really struggling. Lots of anger, lots of frustration, lots of anxiety. She was even unsure about joining the program. She was like questioning whether or not she should do it or stay in it. Anyway, 6 months later, we had a game plan session together and she is just looking so much better, healthier in her face. You can see in her complexion, her skin, how much better she's doing. Her energy is better. Her presence is better. And you could just tell from the way that she was speaking how she was feeling. And I said to her, what's been the change? It looks like you've had a big breakthrough lately. And she said to me, I finally let go of the grief. And I just feel so much better. And I've stopped comparing myself to what I was. I've stopped looking at old photos, wishing my life to be different. And now I'm just here as I am right now, and I'm focusing on that. And just absolutely amazing. Like the day and night difference, little by little becomes a lot. And one thing for sure is you want to start being a victor, not a victim. When we're constantly going around in circles and we're spending a lot of time and energy on things that we can't control, and this happens a lot, we lose momentum and we don't become a victor, we become a victim and we stay stuck. And so I want to share with you kind of what it looks like just on paper so you can get a bit of an idea of what this looks like. So you can imagine this is you, and let's say that you're here right now and things are going pretty well, or you feel motivated, you've watched a few videos, you've been inspired from a success story. And then all of a sudden something happens, or you start to dwell on the past and you start to look at everyone else and you're just not feeling good. And maybe it gets a little bit better, but then still you kind of just going around in circles, you're feeling sorry for yourself, and there's this guilt, comparison, shame, and it's heavy and it doesn't feel good at all. And so you can see here that you can imagine that every time that you keep going down into this comparison game or wishing things were different or focusing on everything that you don't have and everything that you've lost or everything that you were and now you're not, all this energy and attention is actually dragging you down. And it's a cycle and it's a vicious one. And what happens is you become a victim of your past and not a victor of your future. And so we want to change that. We want to start going in the opposite direction. And just like this lady in our program from UK at the moment, she's really gone from down here. Instead, now she's going in the upwards trajectory. And so what she's really done is she stopped focusing on everything that doesn't work. She stopped focusing on things that she can't control. And she started focusing on what she can do. And her energy's changed. She's feeling like she can do things. She's noticing little wins. She's talking differently. She's showing up for herself differently. And she's becoming a self-leader. And self-leaders, they're not victims. They're not victims, they're victors. And I want to show you, this is a card I picked out for the guys when we were doing the work yesterday in the game plan session, setting their new goals, is we want to magnify what works. Yeah, we want to magnify what works. You can see there, when we magnify what works, we actually create energy. So when we magnify what works, all of a sudden it has a filter effect to the energy that you're coming with. And so you can imagine that downward slope of being in the guilt cycle, being in the grief cycle, focusing all your attention and energy, which is kind of pretty precious, on things that aren't working. And when you start to magnify what is working, energy creates energy. And so I just want you to see that for a moment and imagine in your own life right now, what would it look like if you spent the next 6 to 12 months purely only magnifying and focusing on what is working and building on that, and potentially creating more energy in your life because of a flow-on effect that you're doing right there. Pretty cool, right? So I want you to imagine that you come out of that cycle, and this is why mindset is so important. It's not the be-all and end-all. You definitely need the physical components to do the work and help yourself get better. But ultimately, you can do all that stuff. You can get your nutrition right, you can get your sleep right, you can do all the fancy routine structures, the daily planners, the gratitude list. This is our custom plan for our members. You can do all that. But if you're still focusing on stuff from the past and just dwelling in self-pity and loathe and focusing on everything that you're missing out on and just not being where you're at and focusing on where you're at and building from that, it's very easy to stay stuck. So we want you to get out of that cycle. And this is what we do with our members. This is why our members come and keep coming and showing up for themselves, is because this is what helps them get through and get to that next level. Okay? I want you to imagine right now, this is you here. And let's say there's 3 options, right? There's option 1, and this is for everybody, right? Option 1 is just the stuck cycle, yeah? It's the guilt cycle and the victim. And so you can imagine that this is 1 year. So this is 2022 and this is 2023. And by the end of the year, you're just focusing and comparing yourself to other people. You're focusing on weird things that don't help you get better. You're constantly searching outside of yourself, and you're feeling sorry for yourself all the time. And option 1 is that. And by the end of the year, you're probably not feeling much better. You're probably feeling worse because you're looking back going, oh, I haven't done anything and my year's just getting worse. Then there's option 2, which is kind of doing the same thing. You're just cruising, not much is changing, but it feels okay. Option 3 is you've got goals and you're working towards them. And little by little becomes a lot. You're starting to really make a little bit of progress here. And so end of 2023, things have changed. Things have gotten better for you. What happens is, turn to 2023 here, your goals and visions are starting to come to fruition. You're starting to make a little bit of progress. Now, another thing is there's another option, and this is where we call it accelerated progress. And this is pretty cool, and you would have seen this inside our program with lots of our success stories. And accelerated progress is where, well, imagine if I didn't do the work. Imagine if I wasn't in great proximity with brilliant people. Imagine if I didn't have any accountability. Imagine if I didn't have hours and hours of brilliant content that I can consume at my own pace. Imagine if I didn't have a supportive group or environment that would help me move forwards. And basically, you would probably stay around here somewhere, right? Around this area here. And what we want is, if we want accelerated progress, we need to surround ourselves and put ourselves in a brilliant environment that's going to allow us to do this. And at the end of 2023, your life can look a lot different than what it did in 2022. But what are you going to do about it? And which type of person would you like to be? Is this serving you? The guilt, the shame, the victimhood? If you are in that state, don't worry, it's okay. It's part of the process. It's part of going through this. It's really hard, right? No one's denying that. What you're going through is extremely difficult. But my question to you is this serving your greatest good? Is this really helping you get what you want? Or is it still helping you get everything you don't want, to focus on that, right? And I'm not saying here to pretend to be positive, right? I'm not saying to think that everything's all good. I'm not saying that it's all in your head. What I'm saying is, being in victim shame and victimhood and that guilt, it's not allowing you to do the behaviors that are going to be congruent in terms of building health and well-being or building the life of your dreams. What would be more congruent is having a vision, having goals, and having proximity, being surrounded by amazing people who are building you up and showing you a path forward. That will allow you to then do the behaviors that are going to actually build the health and the well-being and the life that you want. And so, which one are you going to choose for yourself? And you can understand that it's not about the mindset. The mindset is the key to the ignition to help you go and do the things you need to go and do, right? So like one of the things for our members, especially in our game plan session last night, discipline came up, the word discipline. You haven't been doing the right thing, so you think, I need to be more disciplined. And what if you didn't need discipline, but you were just committed to more fulfillment for yourself? And it came from a place of fulfillment versus a chore or I have to. The game changes totally when the vision's different and you're looking forward to something and you're really moving into it. And it can be super, super powerful. And so my question to you, just quickly before we wrap this up, is which one are you going to choose? Is it going to be accelerated progress? One of our members from Mexico on a game plan session recently, he said, I'm committed to accelerated progress without expectation. And I thought that was just so beautiful. So this is where we want to be. If you're watching this on video, we want to be in this area here, okay? In accelerated progress, goals and vision, so we can have something to move towards. We really just want to get out of this habit of staying down here, okay? This fulfilling a negative cycle that just plays on itself, yeah? Because when you're feeling guilt, shame, victimhood, your energy levels are going to go down. You're not going to do any kind of behavior or helpful thing that's going to lift you up, right? It's kind of like a lower level energy. And so remember what I showed you at the start, where we want to start to magnify what's working and remember that energy does create energy. And I want to ask you this question, what would it be like if you started to do this? How might it feel if we came from a place of commitment for fulfillment versus discipline and punishment? And what would it be like if we actually had something to work towards that was going to be really, really useful for us? This is just for awareness to help you move forwards, yeah? So there's no beating yourself up, there's no punishment here, it's just awareness. And I hope this training can help you see maybe a different perspective that you wouldn't otherwise have. Be kind to yourself, know that it is hard, it's okay that you're going through this tough time, but also know that it can get better over time. And slowly do the work. So I hope this video was helpful, and rewatch it as many times as you like. And I'll just quickly share with this again. That's where we want to go. Yeah, we want to take this process and move forwards. Remember, magnify what's working, which will in turn help you with more energy. All the best for now. Thanks heaps for joining me. And again, if you found this video helpful, leave a comment and a like. Much appreciate your support. All the best for now.